Hello guys, welcome back. Today, before we continue our journey, I wanted to introduce you to the mid-game farming locations. Now, as I mentioned in our previous farming video, farming is a very important aspect of Dark Souls 3 because of its linear quality. The open world of Elden Ring is much more generous for leveling up and finding farming locations. But in Dark Souls 3, those farming locations are few and far in between. So, I'm going to introduce you to 3 distinct farming locations that I use for different purposes. They range a bit in the amount of souls that they yield and in the type of equipment and materials that enemies can drop. In addition, some require a higher skill level from the player in order to complete the run safely and in a timely manner. With that being said, the very first location that I want to introduce is none other than the Abyss Watcher's Bonfire. Now, right out of the gate, I have to mention that the Abyss Watcher's Bonfire is not the greatest for farming souls, but I included it in this video because it excels in farming a different type of item, and that item is Covenant currencies. Now, we haven't really mentioned covenants in this channel yet, but it should be kept in mind that if you're trying to 100% the game, you are going to eventually need to farm some of these covenants. And the reason for that is because of 2 different achievements associated with Covenant rewards. One, requiring you to collect all of the rings in Dark Souls 3, and another requiring you to collect all of the miracles and spells. Unfortunately, some of these items are locked behind Covenant level rank ups, such as 2 of the covenants that you can farm at this location. The 2 items in particular that we have taken an interest are the Wolf's Blood Swordgrass, which has a chance to drop from all types of Gru enemies. It is a rare drop, but you can enhance your drop rate using the Symbol of Avarice Helm, the Crystal Sage's Rapier, and later on, the covetous Gold Serpent Ring. In addition, every point that you invest in the luck stat will also reflect as an additional point in item discovery. You can also use some of the rusted coins, but I'm not a fan of using rusted coins, especially because they don't last a very long time. The Wolf's Blood Swordgrass is the Covenant currency for the Watchdogs of Farron Covenant. And according to the summary of Covenant rewards, you are going to have to farm at least 30 swordgrasses to receive the Wolf Ring. In addition, you will also be receiving the Wolf Knight's Great Shield, which is one of the lightest and useful Great Shields in Dark Souls 3, along with the Old Wolf Curved Sword, an excellent sword for PvP. But this location also doubles as a farm location for the Pale Tongue. The Pale Tongue is a possible drop from the Dark Wraiths that also roam around this location. In addition to being the currency for Rosario's fingers, the Pale Tongue is also necessary if you plan to respec your character at any point of the game. So having a small bundle of these is convenient, to say the least. The Covenant of Rosario's Fingers only requires you to farm 10 of these items before obtaining the Obscuring Ring. In addition, you could farm 30 Pale Tongues to get the Mangrub Staff. Although in my opinion, it's not a very good staff and it's not worth farming to level 2. If your main goal is just to 100% the game, you're better off simply stopping at 10 items. Now, even when wearing your full farming regalia, farming this location can still be tedious and take a very long time. It usually takes me around 2 hours to get the 30 Wolf's Blood Swordgrasses. But it helps if you don't do it all in one go and spread out your farm into various sessions. Alright, enough about that place. The next location is at the distant Manor Bonfire in Irthel Valley. This bonfire is strictly for farming souls. The enemies here do not drop any particularly good items, so I don't recommend taking the Crystal Sage's Rapier if you don't want to. Just remember to keep your character light enough to light roll, and this place should run fairly easy. The skill level required here is also easy, as long as you only kite one enemy at a time, which is pretty easy to do since most of the enemies we will be facing will try to ignore you until you get too close. And the enemies I'm referring to are the sewer centipedes that can be located inside of this chamber that we passed by in our previous playthrough. Now, from start to finish, this run can be done extremely fast, probably in 5 minutes or less. And the total amount of souls that it yields is around 13,000 per run. That makes this location your fastest available farm for the mid-game player. Although these centipedes look kind of scary, their poise is easily broken and you can keep them staggered until they die. But even if you don't manage to kill them in a single stamina bar, you can dodge around them and their attack misses you completely. The only thing to worry about is having them attack you all at once, so try to keep them separated and this farm should go fairly quickly. Towards the back of this area, there is 3 centipedes huddled around an item, but they are in a dormant state. As long as you only damage one of them at a time, the other 2 will ignore you. And after finishing the other 2, I recommend using a homeward bone back to the previous bonfire to repeat the process. This farm location may require you to initially invest in homeward bones to make your progress faster, but it is definitely worth it so you don't have to run back to the bonfire every time. And now the final area is this small loop that starts at the Church of Yorshka. This area requires a higher skill level to complete promptly and safely, but it also has the possibility of dropping the Pontiff Knight Set, the Firewitch Set, and a hefty amount of souls. At the beginning, the Pontiff Knights could be kind of challenging, but after you get used to the rhythm of their battle, it's fairly easy to either parry them or dodge behind them and get a quick kill. All in all, the Pontiff Knight Set has average stats, but does excel in frost resistance. But in my opinion, it is one of the better looking sets for female characters. It's very shiny and it has a Ice Queen quality to it. You may find that in order to farm this location, You will have to choose between using the Shield of Want to yield more souls or using the Crystal Sage's Rapier to increase your item discovery. Or if you have the stats required to use the Crystal Sage's Rapier as a weapon, you can use both. But to be completely honest, I usually only farm this location until I have the Pontiff Knight Set, and then I go to the much easier and faster location at the distant Manor. This location also has the added benefit of not requiring a homeward bone because it starts and it ends near a bonfire. So there you go. Those are the 3 recommended farming locations. And I am going to go ahead and leave you guys. But I will leave a few clips showcasing the different armors that you could pick up at these 3 locations. Thanks for joining us again. And we will catch you next time, where we will unlock the remainder of Irithyll of the Boreal Valley. Thanks again. Bye bye.